On January 30th, 1996, Magic Johnson came back to the NBA out of retirement after retiring due to contracting HIV. It had been nearly 5 years since he played an NBA game. Here's the story behind his comeback. Welcome to Daily Sports History. I'm Ethan Reese, your guide to a rapid deep dive into sports history every day. Magic Johnson, better known as Irving Johnson Jr., is from Lansing, Michigan, and he actually got the name Magic Johnson due to his abilities on the court in a high school game where a reporter had nothing more to say than his play being magical, and he adopted the name Magic Johnson that still sticks to this day. Then he continued to play for his hometown team, Michigan State, where he led his college team, Michigan State, to a win in the national championship versus his rival, Larry Bird, at Indiana State. This rivalry continued on into the NBA. In the NBA, he had a lot of success, some that only people could dream about, winning 3 MVPs, multiple championships, setting records for assists. But in 1991, still at the height of his abilities, he retired early due to contracting HIV. In the early 90s, HIV was still relatively unknown. If you heard about it, you knew it was deadly to many people, and there was no cure. And athletes, especially worried about the disease, being in contact with each other and not completely knowing how the disease spread. Despite his retirement, Johnson was actually voted by the fans to be a starter in the 1992 NBA All-Star Game. Although many players, such as Karl Malone and even teammates Brian Scott, thought Johnson should not play as there was a risk of contamination while Johnson was on the court. We now know that the risk was very, very unlikely, but at the time, there was still so much unknown about the disease. But Johnson participated in the game and led the West to a win and was crowned All-Star MVP, scoring 25 points, 9 assists, and 5 rebounds. That same year, Johnson also participated to be part of the Dream Team in Barcelona with fellow Hall of Famers Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley, and Larry Bird, among many, many others. Before the 1992-93 season, Johnson announced his intentions for an NBA comeback after participating in the Olympics and several preseason games. But again, he retired. During his retirement, he wrote a book about safe sex and worked as a commentator for NBC and started a foundation to help aid the research of HIV and AIDS. Then during the 93 season, Johnson actually returned to the NBA as a coach for the Lakers, but he still had a contract with them if he ever wanted to play as a player. At the age of 36, he finally rejoined the team in 1996, mid-season, and he helped lead them to the playoffs, losing to the Rockets in the first round. Initially, wanted to return for the next season, but after a few days, he changed his mind and said that he's going to go back to retirement permanently. But this was a major win for many athletes, especially many non-athletes who also have HIV or AIDS, showing that you can still be a part of the world and compete in sports. It's very hard at the time for many people that did have the disease to even talk about it. But Johnson was open about it and allowed to be somewhat of a spokesperson or a light people to look at for hope. As even years after he contracted the disease, he was able to compete at the highest level, which many thought was impossible. And Johnson is still a guide, as he's still around over 30 years after contracting the disease, which many thought was impossible to live that long. And he's a hope for many out there, even if it's not on the basketball court. Thank you for listening to today's Daily Sports History. If you like this, give us a follow on our socials. Daily Sports History on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. We'd love to hear from you, and we want you to be part of our daily sports history community. And come back tomorrow for more sports history.